that's going to help you understand a concept of correlation. And also will help you understand the ideas of what probability is, because probability is at the center of statistics. Statistics, to me, as an institution, when it comes to the West, is just a Western model where you are observing events. And these statistics are based on planetary motions, which is occult science. Okay. It started as astrology, and then it went to astronomy later, and then you went into the pure math movement. And the pure math movement is where you don't know anything about the origins of statistics. You only know how to calculate something. So correlation and causality, very easy to understand if you are very much about computer mind. You don't want to actually understand how does this actually tell me something about an event, because ultimately people want to interpretate something, or people want to create a vector of someone, a picture of some person, ideal customer, target audience, target customer, whatever you want to call it, target follower, whatever. They want to create a person. You literally want to create a human, an ideal human. And from there, they can manipulate and sell them ideas, sell them books, sell them whatever that they want to sell, which goes into back into the law of averages, where you have people in better positions, let's say in a position of power, which is government, using models to create ways of understanding average people and average men. Now, this was like a sentence in my statistic class where they did say the origins of this, the ideal of statistics did come from the average man. That's where you get like p values and stuff like that. And the origins of that comes from planets, them looking at the pathway of the planets. Where will this planet be? Etc. etc. Right? So you look at the paths of the planets, you look at the back of the data and history, and you sum it up and you look at the average, and you can get something almost like, okay, more than likely it's going to be between here and here. So I'm going to predict that path. It's basically what it is. Okay. I won't discuss that too much here, but that's the origins. But you can kind of understand that that's very one dimensional. It is a human looking up into the sky through a telescope and trying to predict the planetary movements. And they use this, or a version of this, and I suggest that you look into it, to actually find a planet. Can you guess which one it is? It will be in the description. So yeah, so they use this idea in order to, or model in order to predict this particular path, and they found the planet based on that. So statistics gives you more of what this looks like, which is a line. I like to call it comic books or cartoon picture of data or information. The funny thing about a rose, if you ever try to draw a rose, most people draw it from this perspective. Because if you draw it from the other perspective, it doesn't have this dimension. It doesn't really, it looks very plain. It looks very much not finished. The essence of what the rose is, which is its core, and the fact that it looks like everything is blossoming from that core is what makes a rose a rose. So roses are often drawn almost on the side slightly, and people will exaggerate the height and the dimensions to make sure to show some of the essence of that core of what the rose is. Meaning that you're not really getting the actual picture of what a rose would look like if you saw it with your eye, because you as a human can understand dynamic data. Computers cannot. And also, even when you draw this, you might not be able to do it. So you have to exaggerate. So statistics is like that. Statistics is a line drawing of something. And this line drawing, to me, if you think of these points that make this up, is events that happen. So in computers, which is the main dominant role for statistics for the computer science, and that is data science, or you can look at like social science also, but mostly everything comes from the computer. When people do surveys, it has to go through the computer. If people are just trying to observe people online, it has to go through the computer, and the computer is very limited on what it can serve. It's not Sherlock Holmes. It's not me. You put me in a room, I'm going to notice certain things about people. Computers are not like that. They are very defined on what they can and cannot do. It looks for events that happen that it can measure. Someone buying something or not buying something, someone visiting somewhere and not visiting somewhere. Okay? That's what a computer does. Mostly everything now is computational statistics. And computational statistics is what the computer can observe. And it doesn't really observe it, it just makes a record of an action. So somebody presses a button, it sends the information to a database, and then a human goes in and looks at it. Now they can use an algorithm to, do some manipulations on those events that happen, but someone still has to go and create that. And again, it's only a line drawing. So that's why it's also very hard to create profiles of people. Whenever you look at, let's say, the law of averages, or this was also used in criminology, but it was never used in criminology for wealthy men. It was for average men. It was for poor, middle class, merchant class, whatever you want to call it, because they had less anonymity. And anonymity is private. That means that they could observe their movements, what they thought. The poorer people are, the more open they are to discussing their issue very loudly. Anonymity comes with power. You less expression of your opinions about something. That's the reason why I never truly ever put out there every single thing I believe in politic wise, because there's no such thing anyway. Everything is multidimensional. But as you go lower on the spectrum, even with education, higher on the spectrum you go with PhDs, you get into the theory, you get into what I'm telling you right now. The lower of it, you get into just calculations and maybe a small sentence about how the origins came about. The rest of it is pure math. You're going in there and you're putting in information through a model of calculation. Okay? That's pretty much all I want to talk about right now. I'll see you guys in the next video.